our first line phonogram after our clock strokes are all finished. This says B. Our lips make a line, and we start with the line. That will help you to remember which one this is. So make a line with your lips. B. See how our lips made a line? And then we start with a line. This is the way we write it with a pencil. This is the fancy way. Are you ready? How many spaces do you think I will count over?
One.
One space. I like how you raised your hand. Thank you. So let's count over. One space. Now, is it going to be short or tall?
Tall.
It's a tall phonogram, so we have to start at the top, but do not touch the top. When you start close, you're going to start comfortably close, but not touching. We go straight down to the baseline. Don't fall through. Without lifting your pencil, you go back up to 10, stop at the 10, and then start rounding. Bump his head over to 2, to the 4, round from 4 to the baseline, to the 8, and stop. And now we have a space before and after the, and it looks like a 2-letter phonogram instead of single-letter phonograms. See that? That works very well, doesn't it? Okay, next one, E. This is a special one. It starts at a different place. This is the way we write it with a pencil. This is the fancy way. It has 2 sounds. Say them again. E. Very good. This is also a vowel. We'll learn about vowels later. So it starts with a line. Even though it's round, we see the round part here. The line part goes first. So we start at 9 on the clock. Now 9 on the clock is in between, I'll do it on the short one. 9 on the clock is in between the 10 and the 8. See that? And it's going to go across to the 3 on the clock. 3 and 9. We're going to go from 9 to 3. So ready? 9 to 3, stop. You don't round until you stop. Up, around, bump his head, over to 10, close the door at 9, round to the 8, to the baseline, to the 4, and stop. When you're at home, when you're doing homework with your child, please remember that you'll want to do groups of 3 when you write the phonograms. So all of the phonograms that they're learning, whether they're single letter or, well, when they get to multiple letter, you won't be able to do groups of 3 because you have to have a space. So they will do, I'll sometimes say do half of the row or the whole row, or I'll ask you to do, to write it 3 times or 4 times, and that will be written on the homework log. Okay? So right now with the single letters, we can do those in groups of 3. They're also learning how to space properly, which is going to be very important when we get to the multiple letter phonograms and spelling. Okay, so let's do the F-E in a group of 3. So we start at 9, across to 3, stop, up and around to 10, close the door at 9, round from 8 to the baseline to 4, and stop. And then we do another one starting at 9. The other thing that's good to do with the children is to ask them to look at what they wrote, and if they made any mistakes, that they can check and see what they can do better on the next one. So I always say to them, look and see what you can do better on the next one. The other thing I do is I have them stay with me when we write. So I'll practice that with Olivia and Abby right now. Abby and Olivia, pencil check. Feet.
Flat.
Blocks.
Stack.
Both here.
Ready.
Paper.
Tilted.
Pencil check. I said that too soon. Ready? Beginning at 9 on the clock. First, let's read the phonogram. Read it. E. 9 on the clock. And they're only going to go to each point of the clock when I say it. 9 on the clock, across to 3, stop, up, around to 10, close the door at 9. You should be at 9 on the clock. 8, the baseline, the 4, and stop. Very good. Sometimes I will say how to write the phonogram by just telling them the points on the clock, and that's fun to see if they can write it without me showing the phonogram. So let's try one that I've already taught you. This is a short phonogram. It starts at 2 on the clock. So find 2 on the clock. So if it's short, where should it be? Below the baseline, right? Pencil check. Fingers behind the paint. Right, 2 on the clock. Up around to 10. To the 8. To the baseline. To the 4. To the 2. When you get to 2, stop. Don't pick up your pencil. Go straight down. Drop halfway below. Can you go halfway below? To 4, and round from 4 to 8. What did you write? Round from 4 to 8. Very good. So that's a good way for them to visualize what the phonograms are and and to remember the points on the clock. That's a very good practice. Okay, so let's do 3 in a row real quick. 9 to 3, stop, up and around. Close the door at 9, round from 8 to 4 and stop. And one more, starting at 9, across to 3. We should say it each time as well, and I just forgot to do that. So let's say it. E, and then write it. Up and around. Close the door at 9, round from 8 to 4. Set it on the baseline. The other thing that students may do after they've made their groups of 3, they may circle their best group of 3. So if it's their best one, they can look for their best one. It's good for them to look for their best work and then to circle it, and it gives them a feeling of satisfaction that they've done well. And they can start to critique their own work as well. For the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and just go through the sounds on the phonogram. Just remember to follow the basic strokes that have been taught and to talk to the teacher if you have any trouble with the phonograms, because a visual of the teacher showing you is always good, and also coming to view the classroom is a good way to see what the children are doing. So whenever you can drop by to watch the class working on phonograms and spelling, it's a good eye-opener for home and what you can expect from your child. We'd like to raise the bar and raise those expectations so that they can do their best and work on achieving their best. So let's quickly go through the rest of the single-letter phonograms. This is, and it's a tall phonogram with a short part. I, I, E. Short phonogram, put the dot above. J. I'll show both. I'm covering up the fancy way. You want to see it both ways. Short line with the bottom part round from 4 to 8 and then give it the dot. K. Tall line. The short lines slant in and slant out. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, remember that the instructions for forming the letters, the phonograms are written on the back in red. O. Starts at the top, but doesn't touch it and goes straight down. Students, say it with me. And then I would say to write it. And then we would say it again each time we write it. Listen first. Open your mouth. Now you say it. And then you would write it. Now you say it. It's a popper. And it's quiet. Put your fingers on your throat. Read it again. Listen first. It's like starting the engine on a car. So say it with me. Be careful. We don't want it to be we want it to be and it comes from the sides of your mouth. Try again. Very good. Now you say it. This is tall. U, oo, Now you say it. U, oo, Very good. Let's try it one more time. Now you say it.
U, oo,
I wanted to hear you saying it correctly. Good job. Now you say it. Put your teeth on your lip. Put your fingers on your throat. It's noisy, isn't it? You feel the motor in your throat on this one, don't you? Woo. Woo. It's also noisy. Put your fingers here. Woo. Woo. You say it.
Woo.
Woo. Woo. You want to be careful not to say wah and add a sound to it. Now you say it. Again. Very good. Ready? Listen first. Y, I, I, E. And we say chop it off because sometimes people say ya, I, I, E. We don't want to add a sound to the first sound of this phonogram, do we? It needs to be chopped off. So we say chop it off, y. Now you do it. Y, I, I, E. Do it again.
Y, I, I, E.
Very good. Z. Now you say it. Z. And sometimes we like to make this really long and say zzz, but that's not the sound, that's a buzzing bee, isn't it? We just want to chop this one off also. Zzz. Now you do it. Zzz. Very good. And I don't know how that got there, but that's not going there. And those are all of the single letter phonograms.